In this video, I'm going to show you how to get job-ready HVAC training for a tiny fraction of what trade school costs. And I mean tiny. We're talking $500 versus $15,000. I'm talking about online HVAC course that actually teach you the fundamentals employers care about. Not overpriced programs, not the 2-year type commitments, the stuff that actually gets you hired fast. So stay tuned in because I'm breaking down exactly what actually works. Hi guys, I'm Brandon Serpa. I help people break into HVAC careers without debt and wasting time. I used to run a marketing agency for HVAC companies, and after seeing the opportunities in this field, I got into it myself. I show people the smart path, the one that gets you working in months, not years. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. All right, let's get to it. If you're looking for an online course to break into HVAC, you've probably noticed that most of them teach you theory and systems, but they leave out one thing that actually matters: how to get hired. I researched every major HVAC course out there, got full access to CourseCareers HVAC program, and I went through it myself. What I found was completely different from the other YouTube tutorials and generic trade courses everyone recommends. Because here's what nobody tells you. Most courses teach you the technical stuff, but they skip the career strategy that actually gets you hired and gets you paid. How to position yourself, what employers really want, and how to stand out when you have zero field experience. If you don't know me yet, I'm Brandon Serpa. I'm just a regular guy who went down the rabbit hole of figuring out the best way to break into the field. I'm about a year into working as an HVAC technician, and I got full access to the CourseCareers HVAC program to see what they actually teach inside. I do service calls, I sell systems, I diagnose problems, and I install units. Basically, I'm in the trenches doing the actual work. Before all of this, I ran a digital marketing agency. Kind of a weird path, but it taught me a lot about selling and how businesses work. Now I'm on the tools side of things, and I've seen both worlds, which is why I can break this stuff down for you guys without any BS. I'm making this video because I wish someone had laid all this out for me when I was trying to figure out my next moves. This is honestly a great time to get into HVAC. The demand is growing each year. The workforce is aging out and there aren't enough new techs coming in to replace them. Here's what makes HVAC appealing if you're the right kind of person. If you like working with your hands, solving problems, and figuring out why systems aren't working, you'll probably like this job. You're not sitting at a desk all day, you're moving around, you're troubleshooting, fixing things. Now let's talk about money, because that's what most people actually care about. Entry-level HVAC technicians typically start around $44,000 a year. But with experience, certifications, and developing your skills, you can realistically hit $75,000 plus or more within a few years. I'm in my first year, and I'm already making $62,000 a year. I started at $500 a week when I was first learning. Not a lot of money. And now I'm at $24,000 to $30,000 a week doing tech work, sales, and diagnosing. The top technicians I personally know are making around $80,000 a year, and the business owners make way more than that, because here's the long-term path most people really don't talk about. Many HVAC techs eventually move on to self-employment or starting their own companies. That's when you're not capped by someone else's pay, or even scale more. You can create your own schedule, you have more freedom, living the American dream. So how do most people actually get into HVAC? If you talk to technicians who've been in the field for a while, you'll notice a lot of them stumbled into the trade by accident. Maybe they started doing handyman work, maybe they got hired on as a helper and kept learning on the job. Those paths work, but they're not strategic. The traditional path is trade school. Trade school will teach you HVAC fundamentals and get you ready for certifications. The problem is they cost anywhere between $5,000 upwards and take 1 to 2 years before you even start applying to jobs. That's 1 to 2 years where you're paying tuition and not really earning anything. Not a good idea. Community colleges are basically the same. You're looking at $20,000 over 2 years, sitting in a classroom, taking some classes that have nothing to do with fixing air conditioners. Some people try brute force, just applying to HVAC companies, hoping someone will take a chance on them. Sometimes that works, but most entry-level jobs still want you to at least get the basics, since they don't want to start from absolute zero. So you're stuck. Trade school is slow and expensive, brute force is gambling, and falling into it by accident isn't a plan. What you actually need is practical job ready training that teaches you what employers care about. Doesn't take years, doesn't cost a fortune, and it helps you learn how to actually land a job. I'm about to drop the secret for you. The CourseCareers HVAC course. I've been on the inside and checked it out, the whole thing. Here's what I found. First off, the course only costs $499 total. That's for lifetime access. Compare that to trade school at $10,000 and up. You can finish it in 1 to 2 months. Compare that to 1 to 2 years at a trade school. It's taught by Tim DiStasio. He spent over 12 years working in the field as an HVAC technician. He then ran his own HVAC company for 10 years. Now he works as an HVAC consultant, designing mechanical systems and training contractors all across America. So you're learning from someone who's actually done the work at an entry level, not some professor who's never touched a system before. Here's what the course actually covers. You start with the HVAC fundamentals, how heating, cooling, and refrigeration cycles work, the different types of systems. Then you move into safety and tools, which are OSHA-aligned safety protocols, how to properly use protective equipment, lockout, tagout procedures, and how to handle electrical and chemical hazards. From there, you learn piping and fabrication, sheet metal ductwork, copper soldering and brazing, steel pipe threading, PVC installation. Then there's the electrical section, high and low side voltage, circuits, contactors, relays, transformers, thermostats, and how to test motors with a multimeter. You also learn about system components with furnaces, heat pumps, and condensers, evaporators, compressors, metering devices, and refrigerants. Then you get into service and maintenance procedures, filter replacement, coil cleaning, drain maintenance, refrigerant, and evacuation. On top of that, you also get to do performance testing to make sure you know how a system works. After that, it's combustion and gas heating fundamentals. The whole thing is built around what employers actually want you to know. It's not just fluff. It's the base information that makes you sound credible in an interview and ready to learn on the job. And here's the part most online courses don't have. There's a career launchpad section that teaches you how to actually land the job, how to build a resume when you don't have field experience yet, how to set up your LinkedIn, and how to reach out companies, what to say on interviews, how to follow up. It's a whole system. There is a free intro course you can try before you spend any money. It'll walk you through everything about the job, the day-to-day, the career progression, and if it's a good fit for you. And if you decide to join, you get $50 off. I'll put the link in the description below. The reason I'm recommending this over trade school is because it's simple, it's faster, it's cheaper, and it focuses on what actually gets you hired instead of just filling the time with anything you do not need. I've talked to HVAC business owners about what they look for when they're hiring techs. Most resumes they get are from people who don't really get what the job is. They're applying because they heard HVAC pays well. This gives you a huge advantage if you actually understand the role and can show you have skills. Companies want 3 things. They want people who understand what HVAC work actually involves. They want people who have skills they can apply even if those skills are just the fundamentals. And they want people who show actual interest in learning. What companies hate is hiring someone who quits 3 months later because they didn't realize the work involves crawling into attics, into crawl spaces in the summer. For them, that's wasted time and money. So when you walk into an interview, you can talk about refrigeration cycles, safety protocols, system components, and explain why you're interested in HVAC. You'll stand out, I promise you. Here's the secret to positioning yourself. Your goal isn't to just get hired, it's to show the employer that hiring you helps them hit their goals. When I landed my first HVAC role, I asked my boss, what is the 1-year, 5-year, and 10-year goals for the company, and how can I help you speed that up? Most people who are applying are not thinking about that. They're thinking small and they're just wanting a paycheck. So let me break down what HVAC work actually looks like day to day. About 40% of your time is on service calls and diagnosing. Someone's system isn't working, you show up, you figure out what's wrong, you fix it. About 25% of a system is maintenance and preventative work. That's seasonal tune-ups, filter changes, coil cleaning. About 15% of it is customer communication and sales. You're explaining what's wrong in a way non-tech people understand. About 10% is equipment and part management. About 5% is documentation and follow up. Here's what my day typically looks like. I start my mornings at 7 a.m. and I look at my house call Pro and I just basically have a small meeting with myself to make sure I'm ready for my day. Usually a maintenance job is the first thing on my schedule. From there, I either get sent out to another call or to pick up equipment. I spend a lot of time diagnosing issues and driving between locations. If I'm not in the field, I'm following up with customers to get them on a maintenance contract or to follow up on an install we quoted them. One of the best parts of the job is that you're not doing the same thing every day. One call might be a simple filter change or replacing a capacitor. The next might be a tricky electrical issue, so you're problem solving. Like for example, I just did a job where I have to find why the unit was shorting out for 3 hours. And now I know exactly where to check next time. Let me tell you about the skills that actually matter when you're trying to break into HVAC. Obviously, you need some technical literacy, but you don't need to be an engineer. The CourseCareers course teaches you the fundamentals you need to get started, and you'll build the rest on the job. You've got to stay on top of your stuff, like tracking parts, writing up what you did on each call, keeping your day organized. It's not rocket science, but you can't be the kind of person who loses their keys every morning. But the skill that's actually getting you hired is being able to talk to people. You need to explain why their AC is broken without sounding like you're reading a textbook. And you need to not be a jerk when you're in someone's house. You're representing the company. And ultimately, I've seen a lot of people get fired because they are just not representing the company in the right way. You don't want to blow your shot just because you send a sloppy email or take 3 days to reply to a message. Companies are sizing you up from that very first message, not just when you walk into the door. And when you're at someone's house, they're deciding in the first 5 minutes whether they trust you or not. You want to show up on time. Don't act like you're doing them a favor and explain what's going on without talking over their head. That's how you get repeat customers. The sales part is literally just being able to talk to people. You figure out what's broken, explain it without confusing them, lay out their options, and help them make a decision. That's it. For me, coming from marketing and sales, this was really easy, but I see a lot of techs who are just great with their hands and terrible at this part. So if you can do both, knowing your stuff and explaining it clearly, you're gonna move up way faster than anyone else. Bonus, being coachable is the other big one. If you're someone who can take feedback and not take stuff personal and learn from mistakes, and you don't get defensive when you're being corrected, you're gonna do so well. Being reliable, show up on time, do what you say you're gonna do. It sounds basic, but being reliable is rarer as time goes on, and companies value it more than almost anything. If this video helped you, make sure you like and subscribe it because I'll be making more content like this about HVAC and the trades. And if you want to check out the CourseCareers HVAC course, that's where the free intro course is linked in the description below. If you decide to join, you'll get $50 off. You've got this. I'll see you guys out in the field.